Tonight, here in Milan, Italy, the nerve-wracking countdown is on. How close to the wire is Santa Giulia?
It's probably as close as it gets.
We are ringside for Milano Cortina 2026's most dramatic race, plus a bird's-eye view of glacial change.
That glacier that we just saw, did anything surprise you about that?
Well, probably the velocity of the retreat.
A disappearing act up in the Alps.
Also tonight, parts of Newfoundland pounded by yet another winter storm.
I think I'm going to miss my walk.
Don't put the shovels away yet. A Grammys mixtape, music, politics, and protest.
We're not savage, we're not animals.
Bad Bunny takes aim at Donald Trump.
From CBC News, this is The National with Erica Johnson and Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault in Milan.
Thanks for joining us here in Milan, Italy. We are right next to the famous Duomo di Milano Cathedral tonight. As you can likely hear, the city is ready for a party. This country ready to throw open the doors to the world. The Winter Olympic Games are just about here, and still a race is underway to get ready. Tourists and athletes are descending. Competition begins on Wednesday. The opening ceremony goes ahead Friday. And one of the big questions of these games, whether the main hockey arena will be ready to go in time, now finally seems to be answered. Well, sort of. We're about to take you inside the Milano Santa Giulia Arena, which has been plagued with problems for months. Getting it built has been a challenge. Still, organizers say hockey tickets are a hot commodity here, and they insist fans in the stands will not be disappointed. If you're at all stressed out by the idea of working to deadline, best look away now. This is the Santa Giulia Arena with just 72 hours before the first puck drops in Olympic ice hockey competition. How close to the wire is Santa Giulia?
It's probably as close as it gets. It's not the only time the games get a venue getting close to the wire, but yeah, this is probably as close as it gets.
Some of the basics at the main hockey venue aren't sorted. Concessions aren't done. And when we checked, the bathrooms didn't have running water. Areas in even worse shape, out of sight behind drywall. The thing about delays is that one tends to lead to another. And there are some things here at Santa Giulia that just won't get done. But the argument here is that that won't matter when the puck drops. Because the only real urgent obsession here is the ice. Shorter and wider than in the NHL, but being cared for lovingly. Canadian ice master Don Moffat says it's the best ice he's made of all 5 Olympics he's worked. That's good to hear, even if he's still teaching workers how to squeegee and still waiting on a cordless buffer to fix the scuffs on the plexiglass. How does it look to you?
It looks much better than when I was there 3 weeks ago, and it looks much better in there. It's the bigger scoreboard, right? Like,
yes.
The other one was tiny. I mean,
Chris Johnson of The Athletic has followed Santa Giulia like the soap opera it's become, including the drama of the NHL suggesting it would pull players if it wasn't happy, and the much-delayed test event last month where a small hole emerged in the ice. It's been rough here since the beginning.
it's a privately funded arena, and what happened is they got the bid, I think, in 2019, and by the time it went to start the arena, COVID had happened, and there was some financial challenges, and so it's been behind since day one of the shovels, essentially.
So construction triage. How do athletes feel about it? We asked Canadian and first-time Olympian Brad Marchand last month what he thought. You're not freaked out by the ice?
No, I could care less about the ice. You know, we'll play on a pond.
It won't come to that. For the athletes and viewers at home, it may be just fine. And for all those paying fans, the team at Santa Giulia is sprucing up as best as possible. Canadian teammates are reeling after hearing that figure skater Deanna Stellato-Dudek has been taken out of competition because of a training injury.
She's living everyone's worst nightmare, and I really hope that, she has a good support network around her, and I know that she does.
Stellato-Dudek's injury will sideline her and her partner Maxime Deschamps for the team event. Whether she recovers in time for the individual pairs event will be assessed day by day. She made figure skating history in 2024, becoming the oldest world champion at the age of 40. Now, Milan is just one of 8 venue locations for these games, with several of them perched up high in the Alps. That includes the lovely mountain town of Livigno, about 4 hours from us here in Milan. And from there tonight, Sarah Levitt shows us the unique challenge geography is posing for Olympians and their fans.
It's in their genes. The snow, the skis, just part of everyday life in Livigno, a small alpine town in northern Italy about to make it big, playing host to Olympic snowboarding and skiing.
For sure this part will help a lot and is a part of the history of the town that in the future for sure we will remember happily.
But the cross-country ski instructor admits not only does he expect his rental business to grind to a halt, he also isn't sure there will be many spectators making their way here. Milano Cortina is the most spread out Winter Olympics of all time. 8 venues across 22,000 square kilometers. Events will be held in Milan, Livigno, Cortina, and more. A way to use legacy venues like those from the Cortina Games in 1956 and to cut costs. The International Olympic Committee admits it hasn't been easy.
Initially, we all thought, oh, well, we'll just have it be a little bit more dispersed because that's more sustainable. Yes, that is very true, but it has added additional complexities.
We're in Bormio, home to alpine skiing and ski mountaineering competitions. It's 3 hours from Milan, and we still have another hour to go to get to Livigno. That is for people with a special pass. The steep switchback roads are easily navigated if there's good weather, not always a given in this mountainous terrain. And spectators coming from Milan will have to take a train and 2 buses to get there.
To create this unity of the team is something really important.
For the Canadian Olympic Committee, it's meant a lot of planning. We're speaking via video call because you're in Milan, I'm in Livigno. Does that speak to how complicated these games are?
It's a long process, like just the specific process for these games landing here. I look at these games winter, it's about 5 years of preparation. So when we get down to where we are right now, we're ready.
One big difference brought on by the spread out nature of these games is no Canada House. Instead, there'll be a series of events in each location so Canadians can cheer on their athletes.
And Sarah, this whole idea of the spread out venues, it sounds like this may be the future of the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, we'll see it again at the next Winter Games, French Alps 2030. This is particular to winter sports contending with climate change, overall warming temperatures, and of course the ballooning cost of bidding for the games. If this trend continues, the Canadian Olympic Committee does say it's ready and it's using Milano Cortina as a way to prepare for the future.
All right, so good to see you. We will see so much more of you. That is Sarah Levitt in Livigno, Italy tonight. So Sarah mentioned climate change, and there really is no escaping that reality here and now. How it is affecting these games could be just the beginning. So you did a study about the future of the Olympic Games. What did it tell you?
Across all the destinations that had already the Olympic Games, we will have lesser hosts that could host the Games by mid-century.
What is happening to the glaciers here is a telltale sign. As the climate warms, they are receding up into the Alps. A little later, we take to the skies to see the problem through the eyes of scientists now scrambling to reach them and study them. But for now, Erica, we will send it right back to you in Vancouver.
Thanks, Adrian. We start with some sad breaking news in Alberta. RCMP confirmed 3 junior hockey players have died in a car crash. It happened this morning in the small town of Staveley, around 115 kilometers south of Calgary. Police say a semi-truck collided with a small passenger vehicle at an intersection. All 3 in the vehicle died, including 2 18-year-old males from Kamloops, BC, J.J. Wright and Cameron Casorso, and a 17-year-old from Alabama, Caden Fine. In a statement posted online, the Staveley-based Southern Alberta Mustangs wrote, "We are a family, and today our family is hurting." The RCMP says its investigation is ongoing. Newfoundland's severe weather alert is expected to end tonight. Small comfort to those who will have to dig out yet again. Some areas are getting up to 50 centimeters of snow. Peter Cowan gets the view from the street.
It's Jay Sadhu's first winter in Canada.
I'm not used to the cold weather, so I'm trying to settle it.
He's trying to get his car out to get into work.
I got a job at 1 p.m., so I'm trying to clean my driveway.
He thought he was almost done, but then he learned a hard lesson. Snowplow drivers can change things in an instant.
I think I'm going to miss my work.
All across St. John's, people were busy digging out. With schools and many businesses closed and buses off the roads, it was a snow day for many. Last month was the city's snowiest January in 6 years, and February is starting off strong with another dump of up to 50 centimeters. But not everyone minds.
I think it's good. People make money off it and gives the economy a boost. Snowmobilers, snow shovelers, people get out snowshoeing.
You don't mind the shoveling?
Not at all, no. I enjoy it. It's good exercise.
Newfoundland's west coast is sitting out this storm, but it did have a snowy start to the year, and people want to get out and enjoy outdoor activities like snowmobiling. It's keeping repair shops busy. The wait to get an appointment is measured in weeks.
People haven't driven their machines in 2 years, and with that comes issues that bad gas and rusty bearings and everything else that goes with it, I guess.
The storm is also dropping about 30 centimeters on Cape Breton, where folks are looking for the positive. At least it didn't rain, so the snow is lighter and fluffier.
A classic Cape Breton blizzard of the old days. It's purely snow, it's windy, it's like a blizzard out here now, so it's nice to see.
Here in St. John's, the storm isn't over. There is more snow expected overnight. So tomorrow morning as people wake up, there'll be lots more to clean up. Peter Cowan, CBC News, St. John's.
According to a new report, Canada's auto industry is producing barely half the vehicles it did a decade ago. Nisha Patel on what's driving the decline and the solution some are calling for.
Auto manufacturing in Canada has been sputtering. The number of cars built here down by 1 million vehicles compared to a decade ago.
There's just this general long-term move away from Canada from U.S.-based automakers.
According to a new report from nonprofit think tank The Trillium Network, U.S.-based automakers Ford, GM, and Stellantis produced 56% of the vehicles in Canada in 2016. Last year, they produced just 23%.
We were really excited in 2020 and in 2021 about all these new investments that are coming in, and very few, if any of them, have actually materialized.
But the Detroit Three say they've faced challenges. While revamping Canadian operations to make electric vehicles, the U.S. removed supports for EVs, then added steep tariffs, forcing the companies to shutter plants and lay off workers. Still, those automakers insist other parts of their supply chain are growing.
The D3 have invested in other facilities in Canada, be it engine plants and other parts and components, including batteries, but also R&D.
Meanwhile, Japanese automakers have picked up the slack. They now build the majority of the cars in Canada, about 77%.
Toyota and Honda, through thick and thin over the last 40 years, have never retreated from Canada.
Researchers say the federal government should give rewards and incentives to those companies that are growing their domestic manufacturing footprint.
Let's focus on those companies, and let's, they've shown their commitment to Canada. Let's show some commitment back to them.
It's a key consideration as the U.S. tries to get automakers to relocate their factories south of the border. Ottawa has been revving up its own plans and is expected to unveil its automotive strategy later this month. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
A dramatic reversal tonight from former U.S. President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary. A spokesperson says the couple will testify before a House committee about Jeffrey Epstein. Despite a subpoena, the pair had said they would not appear. They were facing a potential vote to find them in criminal contempt of Congress. The Clintons are far from the only big names in the spotlight. Crystal Gumansing has new details about Epstein's connection to a pair of royals from different realms.
Invitations for tea in a royal residence and an inquiry about how to raise thousands of pounds for a rent payment. Emails believed to have been written by Sarah Ferguson, the former Duchess of York, to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein after his 2008 conviction related to prostituting minors.
You can see that she had absolutely no filter when it came to talking about her own members of her family. I mean, she describes, for instance, her daughter, Princess Eugenie, going off with a boyfriend on, and I quote, a shagging weekend.
While no wrongdoing has been indicated in Ferguson's emails, the same can't be said for her ex-husband and former prince, known now only as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. King Charles's younger brother labeled the creepy crawler by a British tabloid as new images surfaced in the latest cache of documents. There's no context for the picture of him hovering over a female, but lawyers for Epstein's victims tell BBC News there's new allegations involving the disgraced royal. CBC cannot independently verify those claims. They have not been proven in court, and the former prince has always denied any misconduct. Palace officials haven't said anything about the latest revelations, having previously stripped Andrew of his royal title. The British royal family aren't the only ones caught up in the latest round of Epstein files. Norwegian royalty are also implicated.
I think they were just lying to the public. So I find it really, really disturbing, actually.
Norwegian Crown Princess Mette Maret's name appeared nearly 1,000 times in the latest documents. In one email, she called Epstein such a sweetheart, prompting her to issue a statement admitting to poor judgment. Norway's prime minister said he too thinks it was poor judgment on the royals' behalf and is calling for an explanation into the extent of the princess's contact with Epstein. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, London.
Former Cabinet Minister Bill Blair will resign his seat in the House of Commons to assume a new role, Canada's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. Blair was first elected in 2015 as part of Justin Trudeau's government and was elevated to cabinet in 2018. He will be the second Liberal MP to vacate their seat during Mark Carney's tenure. In a long-anticipated move under the ceasefire, the Rafah crossing at the Gaza-Egypt border opened today for dozens of medical evacuees. It was a fraction of the roughly 20,000 Palestinians seeking medical care in Egypt. Israel delayed the reopening until it received the remains of the final hostage held by Hamas, which were transferred last week. Sporadic Israeli strikes on Gaza continue. Award winners and their presenters using their platforms for politics at the Grammy Awards.
Eyes out.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
How much difference could it really make? Plus, new research shows more young people in Ontario are being diagnosed with a psychotic disorder.
This is a crisis, and we don't need to wait any longer to address it.
What's behind it, and why researchers say it's a global trend. And what does it take to complete the world's toughest row?
I knew that I signed up because I wanted to do something that was intimidating and scary.
We hear from the first woman to do it solo. We're back in 2. All ICE agents working in Minneapolis will be outfitted with body cams. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem posted her announcement on X, saying it will happen immediately. Body cams will be rolled out to other ICE missions across the country as funding becomes available. Many people are still talking about last night's Grammy Awards and the repeated condemnation of ICE for storming city streets and killing 2 Americans. Griffin Yeager shows us what was said.
This year's Grammys had one overriding message.
I guess I want to say I'm up here as a granddaughter of an immigrant.
Eyes out.
Speech after speech, pin after pin, artists used music's biggest night to slam the Trump administration and ICE operations across the country. Host Trevor Noah got political too, joking about Donald Trump's designs on Greenland.
Which makes sense. I mean, because Epstein's island is gone, he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton.
President Trump responded on Truth Social, calling the show the worst, virtually unwatchable, and threatening to sue Noah. Perhaps the most outspoken, big winner Bad Bunny.
I'm gonna say, eyes out. We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not
aliens, we are humans.
It was clear that from that moment on, that was going to be the conversation of the evening.
The Puerto Rican superstar's multiple awards include the first all-Spanish language album to ever win Album of the Year.
It's not typical to have the biggest artist in the world be so direct in speaking out, but the reality is that he is part of the community that is being affected.
Last year, Bad Bunny refused to take the stage in the continental US, citing safety concerns for his fans. The Grammys were one exception, and next Sunday will be another, when he performs the Super Bowl halftime show. The Grammys offered him a supportive room, but the Super Bowl could be a very different environment, says this expert.
The crowd that was in the room, I mean, there was a clear consensus. The Super Bowl doesn't have that.
He says while the audience is bigger, so are the stakes and potential divide. Even so,
it's the implicit protest that artists can get away with at the Super Bowl. They can't be explicit, but they can be implicit. For audiences to see that critique is still possible is very important.
We'll soon see what happens when this megastar takes an even bigger stage. Griffin Yeager, CBC News, Toronto.
Right after the break, we're back from Milan, where a warming climate is creating some challenges for the Winter Olympics now and in the future.
This is one of the areas where probably in the next 20 years, all the glaciers disappear.
We take to the skies to get a closer look at the receding glaciers in the Italian Alps. Next.
Plus, as Canada weighs whether to buy more American F-35s amid heightened tensions with the United States. How are pilots keeping the politics at bay?
When you build that trust in a training environment, we can move that much more quickly on night one of a fight tonight type scenario.
We're at the Luke Air Force Base in Arizona, where Canadians are set to train this summer. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next. A new study in Ontario finds a sharp rise in the rate of young people being diagnosed with psychotic disorders. As Jennifer LaGrassa explains, cannabis may play a role.
In his early 20s, Sean Heron was hearing voices, sometimes telling him to hurt himself.
I would start hearing what I thought was people talking to me through the vents.
After getting help, Heron was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He's part of a growing number of young people in Ontario with a psychotic disorder, according to new research in the Canadian Medical Association Journal.
A chronic psychotic disorder, it's characterized by having hallucinations. People can have intense delusions.
Researchers looked at Ontario health data from more than 12 million people born between 1960 to 2009. They found that diagnoses of psychotic disorders in those aged 14 to 20 increased over time. Specifically, when comparing 1997's cohort of 14 to 20-year-olds with that in 2023, the rate jumped by 60%. Researchers suspect this is a global trend.
We're finding people sooner with their psychotic symptoms and getting them care. But I don't think that explains the full picture.
Researchers think one other factor might be the increasing use of cannabis. Past research shows people under the age of 18 are at a higher risk of psychosis if they frequently use cannabis with high THC levels.
In males, we're seeing a younger age of onset and a stronger correlation to cannabis use.
This early psychosis intervention program is being overwhelmed with referrals and has a months-long waiting list.
This is a crisis, and we don't need to wait any longer to address it.
I never really saw myself finishing school.
Now, at 27, Heron has graduated and is looking for work. He thinks cannabis played a role in his mental illness and wants young people to be more aware of how harmful it can be. Jennifer LaGrassa, CBC News, Windsor, Ontario.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world.
We are super excited. I hope it's a new experience for everyone, for people who live here, for people that maybe travel here.
Anticipation building here in Italy, and rightly so. The Winter Olympic Games officially open on Friday.
Food, sports, and snow is the perfect conditions for the Olympics, I would say.
Those visiting venues in the Alps are already feeling a little bit of magic. But there is some worry hovering over it all about the effects of a warming planet on these Winter Games and those to come. The International Olympic Committee is confronting the reality that climate change is impacting these games and this place, something we saw firsthand when we visited back in December.
Mountains move, have forever, but watch this. The Swiss Alps last spring. That is the fearsome sight of a melting glacier collapsing. The slide swallowing the 800-year-old village of Blatten. The village evacuated early because all saw this coming, and there's the worry. In this era, there are so many warnings about melts. Forgive then the apprehensive voices chiming in elsewhere in the Alps in nearby northern Italy. Those who say enjoy these Winter Olympics while you can, because even the International Olympic Committee knows it's all changing.
So you did a study about the future of the Olympic Games. What did it tell you?
Across all the destinations that had already the Olympic Games, we would have lesser hosts that could host the Games by mid-century if we take a medium scenario, probably between 10 and 12.
So in the not-too-distant future, nearly half the places that once hosted the Winter Olympics may not have the right climate conditions to ever do it again. That is one consequence of a warming planet.
So this is one of the areas where probably in the next 20 years, all the glaciers disappear.
In Milan's Eurocold lab is where they start to figure out the other urgent worries about retreating glaciers.
In the alpine area, the temperature increase twice of the global level.
These glaciologists would know. They're suiting up to head into the cold room that always hovers between -30 and -50.
This is an ice core. Okay.
It's where they preserve core ice samples that allow them to keep an archive of glaciers and how they change.
Probably the Adamello Glacier will be like to be disappeared.
Lose the glaciers, lose drinking water for millions, lose water for energy and agriculture. These are huge threats.
It's important also to preserve a little part of the ice cores as an archive for the next generation. Okay.
There are lots of ways to study glaciers, but melts are so significant and frequent, even getting the ice to look at in a lab is getting harder. So we follow Claudio Artoni back into the mountains. He's taking us to Bormio and pull back a bit to get a sense of where we are. Bormio is one of several mountain hubs in northern Italy for these Olympics, along with Livigno and Cortina.
Are you worried about this glacier?
Yeah, we tried to make a core last year, but we didn't reach it.
So the more they retreat, the harder it is to understand what's happening to them.
Yeah, for sure. And also the harder is harder to reach them.
When you can no longer climb to those glaciers, thinning, melting, retreating higher up in the mountains, sometimes the only way to observe them is from the air. And so we head up over Bormio on the western side of the Dolomites, which will host the men's alpine skiing and new sport of ski mountaineering. Look below to the slopes at lower elevations where on this day it's too warm to make snow.
Now, because of the temperature, we are not using them to create the snowpack.
This is why some events get moved higher up the mountains. And as you climb, the more perfectly snowy it seems.
The snow that you see here is a little bit deceptive. It's a bit like putting a layer of paint on a very cracked wall. At first you don't see what's wrong, but if you have someone like Claudio who knows what they're looking at, then all the problems become very clear.
They do when we approach what's called the Forni Glacier. Its retreat has been fast.
The problem is that the snowpack has to remain on the glacier for 2 years to create new ice. The snowpack don't have the time to transform itself to firm and then new ice, because the summers are very warm, and so this creates the melt of all the snowpack.
Is that a little rock fall up ahead?
Yeah. That rocks are probably quite fresh. For sure, there are a lot of rock slides, landslides. Probably it's related to the warm temperature of the summer.
That glacier that we just saw, did anything surprise you about that?
Well, probably the velocity of the retreat.
And you could tell visually?
For sure.
Working, living in these mountain ranges takes some innovative thinking now. Italy and Switzerland, which share an alpine mountain range, are in the midst of rerouting their border as the glaciers change and natural high ridges that historically mark the border shift. To compete here means realizing you cannot count on natural snow anymore. So Italians are leaning on a snow farm in the Olympic hub of Livigno. What's created, what falls, preserved throughout the summer to build up trails now, especially at lower, warmer elevations.
There we go. Snowmaking's, I don't know, 60, 70 years old. But here they've really refined everything, and particularly the whole energy efficiency thing in Europe is a big point for everybody.
Managing the snow is everything here, and the IOC maintains every effort to do so must be sustainable.
Should we lift her up?
So a chairlift to the future with Canadian slope builder Joe Fitzgerald.
There we go. Paradise. Heaven.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
If you can tear yourself away from those astonishing vistas, look at this.
This is the water basin that they've built up.
One of the largest and highest reservoirs in Europe, built just to supply the water to make snow for these Olympics and beyond.
So what makes this basin sustainable? There's a liner in it. That's not a natural material. You have to pump water up to it.
Well, you're creating a water battery in terms of you've got a storage of water at an elevation where you need the water to be able to run it back down the hill, use gravity.
He's working his 9th Olympics and knows that, like it or not, athletes now rely on artificial or technical snow.
So the first athlete out of the gate has exactly the same experience on the snow as the last athlete?
Pretty much. This is a good test. What is happening, because you've got an air gun with the snow, it's creating the crystals. Then they're coming down, so there's still free water in the snow, and then when it lands, it has to the water leaches out, which dries out the snow, which is better snow.
The goal is learn to make snow sustainably at warmer temperatures. Until then, events will keep moving to higher elevations. That's expensive and hard to do. Consider Cortina, the 1956 Olympic host. Snow was an issue even then. The military had to truck it in. Now, different complications. The Italian government backed construction of a gondola to get spectators to Olympic events to reduce traffic jams, create something permanent for Cortina. Only this range is prone to landslides.
Here we are on an historic landslide. It's always been here. It's one of the biggest in Italy. There, where the red net is, there is no protection. The ground has detached and shifted.
The mountainside is cracking. This is local environmental scientist Silverio Laciadelli.
This is the latest fracture that occurred, continuing from the larger one that started up there. And all this ground tends to descend toward the construction site. It's an enormous landslide, 3,500 meters long and at least 400 meters wide.
A semicircle crack covered by tarp and behind fencing.
It's deep. It's deep.
In early December, when we visited, that crack was creeping down the mountain and growing.
Landslides should not be loaded with weight. So that pylon, which weighs 25 tons, may have facilitated the landslides. You don't even plant trees on a landslide.
The Italian government and construction company told CBC News safety is the first priority. With just days to go before the Winter Olympics start, the gondola was still not ready. The IOC is quick to be clear it didn't commission this project, isn't in charge, and yes, it knows the concerns.
Every time when you go in the mountain, I mean, you know it's a very fragile environment.
The Italian government, it's true, took over the construction of that, but it was for Milano Cortina to move the spectators up the mountain. Do you want spectators on that gondola if there's a crack adjacent to it?
We will obviously not have spectator if it's not safe to take the gondola for sure. I mean, we rely 100% on the local authorities to ensure that whatever is used is done in the safe way.
This country is so eager to show off the best of what it has and can do to put on a flawless and beautiful games, and yet the anxiousness is earned. A road leading away from Cortina holds a memorial for nearly 2,000 people killed in 1963 when a massive landslide fell into a dam and washed out an entire community. These stunning ranges demand respect, demand we all adjust to their needs, that as the world moves to watch these mountains, no one ever forgets that the mountains move too.
And we're still awaiting the final word on whether that gondola in Cortina will be finished and safe enough to ferry fans during these games. We were expecting an update today, but it did not come. And a reminder, the National is here in Milan all week leading to the opening ceremony on Friday. I'll be co-hosting our coverage with Devin Haru from CBC Sports. That starts at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, wherever you watch CBC. So that is it for us here tonight from a still very busy Milan. I'll see you again Tuesday with more special coverage. Until then, it's over to Erica in Vancouver.
Thanks, Adrienne. Coming up, a turbulent trade relationship has Canada weighing a multi-billion-dollar decision.
The question of acquisition of a replacement fighter fleet, and the F-35 in particular, remains under review.
How military pilots are trying to keep heightened political tensions out of the cockpit. Next. We go behind the scenes at an F-35 training facility.
It is actually amazing what this aircraft can do.
Canada has committed to buying 16 of these sophisticated American-made jets. But with trade tensions in the air, Ottawa's plan to buy 72 more is under review.
If interchangeability isn't important to the Canadians anymore, they may go in a different direction.
This summer, RCAF pilots will head to the States to begin learning to fly the new jets. David Common traveled to a U.S. Air Force base in Arizona, where F-35 trainers are trying to keep heightened political tensions out of the cockpit.
Arizona's Luke Air Force Base is a vast facility which opens to an even more sprawling desert. Much of it reserves space for pilots from the U.S. and other nations as they learn to fly the F-35 fighter jet. By this summer, that will include Canadian Air Force pilots.
This actual plane is one Canadian pilots will soon be training on. It is part of the U.S. Air Force, but until Canada's aircraft get manufactured and delivered, they'll be training on ones like this.
Canada has committed to buying 16 of the stealth jets. We can't get out of the contract now, even if polls suggest many Canadians would rather switch over to a European-built jet. The question for the Carney government is whether to buy any more, up to 72 more F-35s with a multi-billion-dollar price tag. President Trump's threats to seize Greenland.
How far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland?
You'll find out.
Perhaps on the back burner now, have exacerbated the jet debate. And if it's controversial for Canadians, imagine what it's like to be a European pilot training alongside the Americans.
I think the whole world has to adjust a little bit to the way politics are run, it seems, at this time.
Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Loisterberg is an instructor pilot for the Netherlands Air Force.
Interesting times, let's call it that.
But he says they can't let it distract them. Even if there is a political divorce underway between Europe and the U.S., Loisterberg, who everyone here calls just Nicky, is still glad his country chose the F-35.
And transitioning to the F-35 was like stepping into a science fiction movie. It is actually amazing what this aircraft can do.
It might not be as easy for Denmark. It also bought the F-35 and trained here at the airbase. Even deployed the jets to Greenland as a show of force against the very country that built them. Talk about irony.
You know, when it's night one of major combat operations, we don't have time to establish trust and relationships So when you build that trust in a training environment right at the beginning of your flying career, we can move that much more quickly on night one of a fight tonight type scenario.
Brigadier General David Birkeland commands the Luke Air Base. He flies the F-35 and has trained and flown on operations with Canadians through his entire career. He says pilots just can't get caught up in politics.
So we're ready. We're super excited to get the RCAF here, and we are fully prepared to bring them in and welcome them onto the team and into the family here at Luke Air Force Base.
Canada's Air Force is replacing its aged CF-18s. It originally had 138 of them, but fewer than 80 still function. With only 16 F-35s being built for Canada, the Carney government either needs more of the American jet or to supplement what we have with a second plane. Sweden is selling its Gripen jet as an alternative, a fighter most observers see as very capable, but not as sophisticated as the F-35.
Well, the Gripen versus F-35?
Yeah.
Is that your question?
Sure. Nikki was ready for that.
For me as an operator, it's very simple, right? I want to do the best I can. I want to win the war. I want to go home to my family afterwards. And I couldn't be happier that my country decided for F-35. So let's answer it that way.
Because you think it makes those more likely?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I think the F-35 is a way better platform than the Gripen.
What's the relationship look like between our two countries on the defense front?
I think it's awesome.
As we visited Luke Air Force Base, so too was the American ambassador to Ottawa, Pete Hoekstra.
If I look at polling, there was a poll that came out at the end of 2025 that said 72% of Canadians don't want the government to buy any more F-35s. They want to switch either entirely over to a Swedish fighter or do something else.
That's a Canadian decision. Okay, that's a national security decision for Canada. All right, if interoperability, if interchangeability isn't important to the Canadians anymore, they may go in a different direction.
As I've said on many occasions, the question of acquisition of a replacement fighter fleet and the F-35 in particular remains under review.
Canada's Defence Minister, David McGuinty.
We have to consider facts like interoperability. We have to consider facts like benefits, industrial benefits around the country, something that's being worked out.
But if Canada doesn't buy more of the F-35s, Ambassador Hoekstra says it may mean American fighter jets need to enter Canadian airspace more often to deal with incoming threats.
Could the U.S. do more to get Canada's continued business on this?
Sure, sure we could do more. But again, it's not about doing more or less. It's making sure that we get to a fair agreement for both the United States and for Canada.
And that'll be complicated, especially when so many Canadians oppose buying more of the American planes, even as internal defense assessments say they're exactly what Canada's military most needs.
On Monday, a delegation from Ottawa took part in a ceremony at Lockheed Martin's Texas plant to mark the final stages of production. The RCAF's top commanders signed the fuselage bulkhead, which will be installed in the first Canadian F-35 to come off the assembly line. And a reminder, David is now the host of CBC Morning Live, so you can wake up and watch weekdays starting at 6 a.m. History has been made in the middle of the Atlantic.
It feels amazing to know that I'm capable of rowing across the ocean.
Her historic achievement, next in our moment. This is the moment Taryn Smith completed a long and extremely difficult journey across the Atlantic Ocean completely alone. She became the first woman to complete the world's toughest row solo, and that historical journey makes our moment.
It is day 11 of my row, day 17, day 31, day 46. It is crazy. It is out there. We're supposed to go out in this world and do big things. It feels amazing to know that I'm capable of rowing across the ocean. I became the first solo woman to have ever done the world's toughest row. We started in La Gomera and then finished here in lovely Antigua, 3,000 miles across the Atlantic Ocean by myself. The journey only took me 46 days. I was was just having the time of my life. And there were hard moments, of course. I knew that I signed up because I wanted to do something that was intimidating and scary. The wildlife was spectacular. I had pods of dolphins that would swim with me as I rode. I had a little bird that followed me throughout the journey. 15, 20 miles away from Antigua, I started to see land, which I just was grinning ear to ear. It was amazing. It was overwhelming, and it just thought of everything I'd gone through to get to that point. It was the highlight of my life.
Now, Taryn had not been rowing her entire life. No, she read about this in a Vogue magazine article. She had not ever rowed before. She hadn't even been in a rowboat before. So if there's something that you have always wanted to tackle but haven't, this is your inspiration. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. I'm Erica Johnson in Vancouver. Take care.